we're in this location where it's like this, you know, pretty much an apartment where it's like kind of like clinical situation, legal situation, where we want to challenge the law and medicine and science and our illnesses and our legal cases and everything that's going on. It kind of comes together because, you know, everybody in the world is invading your privacy, trying to hurt you, speak lies about you, tell truths about you, and you're fighting it. You're on Facebook, you're social, you're public, you don't want to do anything, you're sick, you got issues, they're poisoning you, they're forcing drugs on you because people are violent, they're angry. Some dictators and psychopaths and sociopaths and schizophrenics and mentally retarded and misjudgments among everything in chemistry and biology and science and religion and law and militants and all the geometrical vectors, the matrix. There's all kinds of ideas floating around every fucking where, and it's ridiculous shit. Okay, it doesn't really pan out when a bunch of dummies who can't actually use math and measure and tools and science to make heads or tails. Okay, if you can't make an accurate measurement quantum physically to show what reality is all about, whether it's even real or not, a simulation or aliens, or I have actually collected some strange evidence on everything: spirit, aliens, the matrix, but it all is misleading because it's not in the right position, if you will. But it was valid to show that it formed a piece of valid evidence, but in the wrong position, which meant that it was humanly created, almost like a hoax, and that there are certain issues in life that are very quantum physical, and we're in a quantum field, pertains to psychic and spiritual kind of like stuff, where we confuse that with the matrix and all these violent societies trapped all around this country here in America, among all the war, the religion, the poverty, the hatred, the bigotry, you know, every fucking thing you can come up with. Okay, the world is insane basically, because they're basically quantum physically stupid. Okay, it's a very difficult thing, and it requires a decent IQ, and even a regular person can understand it, but putting the measure to it is difficult to conceive because it is difficult to draw that conclusion in your mind. So it's a lot of geometrical vectors of physics and what we know about physics. And we do not know everything about physics, nor are we ready to validate reality or science or medicine or militants or law in all cases. Okay, but generally there's a lot of misconceptions. People are being set up with fraud, forced against their will. You know, we're poor, we're at war, people are starting fucking World War III. The world is violent with all sorts of belief structure. And no one can seem to really come to realize that they're just human beings, and that this is all evil and unnecessary, and that the language that we use is irrelevant, but our actions are more important. Language is a sign of love, and actions are too, but honestly, everything is truly about precise measurement. That's the truth. It has to be a precise measurement. It comes to a particle. 5 laws of the universe, starting with volume, whether or not that's real or not, particles, magnetism, motion, and empty space. Everything is the law of that in geometry. Can't get any greater than that. You can see it all around you. It's everything. That's what life is. The 5 laws of the universe, infinite universe. Whether or not we're finite or infinite at the moment, whatever that means to you, There is infinite and there is finite. It doesn't matter though. But what I'm really trying to convey is the virtue of law itself. What law does is try to protect you, and it tries to make light of harm, death, illness. Law is everything. Law is the highest order of everything. It reaches far beyond medicine. It is the topological construct that the highest order of priests of the human world are of knowledge, that they show measurements of validity and non-validity, and whether something's true or false, or guilty or innocent, or both guilty and innocent. So like everybody has some guilt. They have a trash bag they carry around full of oops, I'm stupid. But that means you're just human. Your brain is only so large. You really don't capacitate that much information all in one given second. But you compare to a supercomputer. Humans compare to supercomputers. We are pretty intelligent at times. Some of us, we just need to clear our lives out and learn. Okay, no naturally born child is absolutely always super intelligent, but you can develop your IQ. Okay, and it takes a while to understand. It's all just geometrical vectors, and once you start learning how to put those together in reality, all of the ancient history that we have and what we know about science and everything, you've got a lot of reading to do and learning. It'll take you 40 years just to get your feet on the ground. Okay, but a lot of people, they were geniuses and stuff, and they knew, and they could see really well and calculate really well. There's different varieties of geniuses. Okay, some are really super intelligent. Some are super intelligent, so intelligent they're stupid, and that they're beyond the scope of reality. And then some are down low, where they function and they miss some marks, and they do whatever they can do to make all these things come together, but it fails. It's like a percentage. So how accurate you are is some scale of 100% down to 0. I don't think anybody's really a 0 until they're dead, obviously. But you got to keep working at this, and it's a continuation of life. You do what you got to do. Okay, people want to commit suicide and everything else. They're all due diligence, and without due diligence, it gets really hard. We die. We can't survive. Can't get people to listen because they've been so screwed over. It ain't funny anymore. So this is the reality we're living in. It's on a ball of earth that has a lot of heat and a sun and fire and a lot of energy flowing through it constantly at different times of the cycles of every year, every day, every week, every month. So this is all about quantum particles in reaction, because if it didn't exist, then nothing would divide, nothing would move, nothing would have volume, nothing would have mass, nothing would interact, no chemicals would ever occur. This would not be non-existent, these 5 laws. Based on these 5 basic laws, everything exists. Now, how you get detailed in quantum definition is a scope of how tiny the geometrical objects can be shown to interact. This is what we call geometrical vectors. Everything comes to an identity. You can't identify it, you don't know what the hell it is. You don't know how it works, you don't know what it is, when it is, or even who it is. So, among all the theories of physics, Einstein era mostly, and then even all of history, it's just, history probably conceived everything a long time ago. It just wasn't recorded very well, and it was all there. No one's really special today like we think we are, but we are doing good work at times. Different people are doing good things, and they're keeping people alive, because I'm here to tell you, I'm alive, but I've been through hell. Okay? So, like, a lot of people have been through hell. That's all this place is, really hell. I don't believe in religion, really. Gods and all that pertains to aliens and the Matrix and magic and strange creatures of the universe. and parallel time, where time is defined as the motion of objects, nothing more. Okay? So, like, people are stupid. They don't understand. They can't grasp or conceptualize the geometrical vector of how things come to be an object. Okay? Without an object, you have nothing. You can't have just nothing when there's objects. It makes no sense. How can you have objects that are nothing? You can't. No object is nothing. It has volume. It's a polygeometric object. It's a polygon or something, or a box or something like that. It has various sizes, and it's called the quantum field. All these particles are moving around like magnets. It's what keeps us constant flowing in what we do every day. Because we are a magnetic structure that's like a maze, a puzzle that has to fit where it fits. It can change, it can move, it can die, it can destroy itself. It can be destroyed by something else. But listen, we don't want that to happen. We want to make as good as we can be. So, I mean, honestly, living is what we choose to do. We don't have to. Sometimes we eventually might give up. And then that's just the end, you know. But it's a lot of work to survive, and I think acting ridiculous is what brings upon a lot of criminal science. And there's two sides to this story, good and evil. So, like, you know, in the Bible, in King James Bible, it tells you not to eat the poison apple because everything on the earth was poison. And they predicted in ancient times, you know, it was all, and the Bible was supposedly written in the 1500s by King James. And then, you know, his people and how the church gathered evidence, and they misled people. They excluded heresy from the book of Thomas. And then you got the Freemasons and the Satan worshippers and the Wiccans and the pagans and the Gentiles and the Jews and the Muslims and the Scientologists, and I even have my own religion called Scientenza, and it's just about science, so it is, telling the truth, finding the truth, and I'm about there. I pretty well topologically figured out almost everything. It's just getting some vectors and geometrical vectors into place to prove that it is what it is and not what everybody thought it was. And a lot of people are probably there too. There are probably several people that are about there. But what do? You know, it seems to be all real and everything and interconnected. And could it be a supercomputer network all in your mind, like elusive to everything? Is it all relatively normal, but suddenly one day life became super strange? Is it the Twilight Zone? What do you make of reality itself? You know, they made a lot of medical claims that they can't geometrically measure inside the human body as being accurate, like, you know, how your hormones work, or how any of your chemistry works in your body, or how your neurotransmitters work, because they can't actually see it happen. It's too difficult to make the measurement in the form of data energy called a geometrical particle vector, where they can't actually relay the information accurately, because physically there's no way to get it all sorted out into a machine so that it makes valid location sense. I mean, upon the coordinates of an actual object in a frame of time reference under the law of the event that it is true. Can't ever see this. We don't know what things do when they move around. Nothing is really straightforward all the time. Change is pretty well consistent, constant. We change and change and change, but we don't change extremely, but we could. We could very well change violently, but we don't want that. That's what medicine is for. A big part of medicine keeps us from changing violently. Like, there are people that get serious diseases and their body turns into strange, freaky anomalies. You know, phenomenon, mind-blowing, you know, mind-blowing phenomenon. And we want to heal these people and want to prevent these diseases. But it's mind-blowing that something like that happens. It's so geometrical that it becomes a difficulty to even fathom, let alone change or fix or heal or cure. This is all difficult. So I'm going to post this video. I'm going to call it Understanding Reality. And this is probably one of the better videos you're going to get to see in life. And it's all about geometrical particles, vectors, the 5 laws, everything. And hopefully it benefits you if you're going to survive on this earth. We're moonwalkers. We're humans. We're animals. We're creatures. We're of the spirit. We're of everything we can conceive to defend ourselves and even to offend criminals. So the law is it. So, I mean, keep yourself in check and avoid the evil. You know, do what you got to do. But how can we make all the predictions and dictations in the world for everyone when everybody's so divided and so hateful and so wrong and right and mixed up with everything? Really, physics is like the ultimate thing. It pertains to exactly who you are and what you should be, and what you should do. It's kind of, it'll even take you into the God realm at some point. You will eventually might have a bit of a God realm, like maybe, you know, it's kind of, they all want to play God right now, but that's not who they really are. They just think they are because they were given a lot of free money, and people try to obey them, and maybe it's not a good idea to obey tyrants and have a lot of sycophants and these strange characters operating in illegal ways or trying to dictate who everybody should be on the earth. You know, it is a system, and we pertain to having to have a system because of the population and limited space and how we have to do things and who we are as beings and what our life rates are and predictions about us are and bad science and the cost of saving people from death, what it does to the earth and the degradation of life itself. So they predicted that it's bound to end, and it would take an enormously crazy, evil, strange super science, super physical science to save the human race from sudden death at some point. So now we've been working on that too, like moving particles around in the sun or the earth or free energy, stuff like that, how things interact in the standard model. All this comes together. It's all about atoms and particles and the flow of energy and gravity and the slight changes that can totally ruin a system. Even the tiniest change, if it doesn't stabilize and stay within a range, it'll totally wreck the system, and suddenly it'll end. It'll just decay and break and explode or implode, become the blip. You know, anything reigns in the quantum physics, and we're suddenly dead, gone. So this is your video. Here you go. If you need to know something, this will be the one, and this will get you started. You got a lot to learn.